Engine, time to lower it back in. Hopefully I don't break the windshield. Shout out to Dan Carlin for getting me through this long night in the shop. But time to lower this thing back in. Nothing like hearing about nuclear war as you lower your engine in. Preparing for war. You gotta go in easily. No getting messed up. No getting hung up on the motor mounts. It's a pain in the ass sometimes to line up all of these 8 holes. It's just kind of like a thing. But you are gonna do this. You're gonna do this. All right, well, it's 11 o'clock. I've done a ton. The engine is like so far along already. It could probably start tomorrow if I really, and like it could probably start in like 3 hours worth of work, but no need to keep kind of chugging away at it. I'll just pick this up later. I got some time still, so that's a cool, weird thing to say. I got time on this. The front end is going to be more tricky. So engine, that stuff's kind of straightforward. Front end will be a little trickier. I may have to like kind of remake this tube front end deal, but I don't know yet. So keep cranking along on this, and then the front end, that's the project. But I'm pumped. Huge shout out to Induction and Fast Forward Race Engines. Getting this thing turned around for me so quickly. Love those guys. Today's project is obviously pulling this car apart. Pulling this car apart has been a pain in the ass thus far. So I got the inner fender well out. I got the one panel, the quarter panel off that I need. Sorry, fender that I need. I've been so quarter panel fender. But good thing I'm not using this car. I mean, look at that. She's rusted pretty good. Like, there's a good amount of rust on this car. It's not what I would be like, oh, this is a great chassis. That chassis is great. No rust, clean. This car was from Michigan, I believe. She's pretty rusted. So every bolt and nut that's coming off is rusted. It's not that great, but the plastics are great. The hood is fine, thankfully. These brackets I might ditch. Mine are nicer than this. This all gets cut out. So I just need the top skin. So yeah, not great. Glad I'm not using this. Time to get the bumper off. Well, bumper's off. This is what it looks like behind there if you guys have never seen it. So this is what GM was like, that's our cooling. So those openings right there go to right here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty much to nowhere. And then there's all this, and then there's a radiator. So the radiator only picks up from like under there. I think there's that little gap. But like the bumper basically picks up nowhere whatsoever. So that's how GM designed it. Crazy, I know. Crazy. But I guess when you have crash test stuff, this is all obviously OEM crash stuff. Here, a lot of nastiness. There's a socket down there. I can see it. But I don't know what I'll need to put that bumper onto my car, but we'll figure that out as we go. Well, you've done your last pass, wheel. You've served me well. I don't trust the structural integrity of it anymore. It's probably okay, but you've served me well. A lot of people hated you. You've been a lot faster than a lot of people with the right wheels, the nice wheels, the wheels I should have. You've been a lot faster than a lot of those guys that hate you, but you've done well. Time to be buried out in the woods. Maybe a Viking funeral. I'll push you out into the sea. But it's done you well. It's done me well. A lot of people with, really nice, expensive wheels have been a lot slower than you. A lot of people that hate you are nowhere near as fast as you. But you've done well, old wheel. You've done well. You can rest. So I'm a Milwaukee guy through and through. The M18 stuff is great, but the M12 stuff leaves a lot to be desired. So I've, instead of buying the nice expensive batteries that have failed on me many a times, I have had like 8 M12 batteries fail. Went with the cheap no name brand, basically. Yeah, there's no name on there. But I went with the cheap ones to try out to see how happy those are. So, name brand, cheap one. I mean, they're like 20 bucks for 2 of them, whereas these ones are like 60 bucks. And I don't need like a lot of power, I just need them to kind of work. That would be ideal. I mean, anything would be better than this one because this one doesn't charge, nor do any of my other ones. So let's try these cheap guys. So far, it does everything I needed to do. That right there. If it can recharge, we're in. Okay, I don't know how much I've shown. I've been hustling all day yesterday on this thing. So headlight, you know, nothing's hard mounted yet. Everything's just mocked up with a couple bolts. But fender is on. Fender's actually hard mounted. She's sturdy. Bumper is mocked up. Looks pretty good. It's dirty. I was kind of hoping to wash it, but you know, we're kind of on a time crunch here. It bolts up just like this. I didn't cut out the Camaro logo like I did on the old one, so it's gonna look different. And then it also has this melted Camaro logo, which is hilarious. It used to have the 2JZ, but you know, don't mind that. It's not hard mounted. See, like right there, shouldn't be rattling. It's not mounted over here. Yada yada yada. Don't pay attention to that. It has one clear light here and one amber light here. New tires are coming for the front, still on their way. The engine is almost ready to start, like 99% ready. It needs the lower intercooler piping and then a couple things tightened up, some oil, and she's ready to go. The rear end, I started pulling out the Panhard bar. You can see right here, I had this hooked to there, pulling out the Panhard bar that way, and then I'm gonna weld it up. I drained all the fuel out, so hopefully we don't have a fire. There's the other car. Cooked. Hood is a big one, so this is the old hood right here. You know, it's all cut out so that it fits well. All the bracing and everything, and still has the struts. But this one right here obviously needs to be cut still. Not cut, not cut, cut, you know? So I have them next to each other. I can do all the mock-up cutting that I need. You know, here is the wastegates. Here's the intake, my arrow catches for the hood. I always leave the third on there, just, you know, kind of like the safety latch. Never took that off, but I need to cut all this inner structure out. So I lay them next to each other so that we can do that. And then the hood can go back on, or not back on, but on for the first time. But yeah, it's unfortunate that that one's bent. Yeah, let's get to something. Probably cut the hood now because it's daytime and that's a loud job, so let's get to it. All right, old hood. I actually cut more on the new hood because I left this originally on the old hood and I was just like, oh, maybe, you know, it adds a little more structure. I realized that the hood was super sturdy at speed, so I probably didn't need that structure. So I cut a little bit more, get some more weight off of it. Probably clean up these edges a little bit here. I usually scrape all this off, kind of just clean it up a little, but new hood is looking good. All right, I'm just putting the arrow latches in, and the way that I do this is pretty simple. So I already had the pins in there, so I just kind of pushed down, saw the little mark pop up, and then that's where I knew my main hole was, right there. And then, you know, kind of just I drilled out a starting hole, and then I used this little air saw. These things are the best, this little zip tool deal. Cool air saw. I really like those for like things like this and that high RPM type of deal. So once you get that going, you just push it in right there, and then this bottom plate, and then all these little Allen deals, and it holds on perfect. So I've already made sure that this one works. I just need to drill the holes and we should be good to go for that. And then I need to put 2 wastegate holes and 1 intake hole somewhere. That intake hole and 2 little wastegate pipes. So shouldn't be too bad. but it, you know, it's just a time-consuming thing. It takes a little bit of time to get this right. All right, well, that's enough for the day. The front end is 100% mounted. Everything's on and as tight as I can get it. You know, down here is a little odd because it doesn't have that support, but because it has a different level of support, it's pretty sturdy. I think it'll be good. We'll do like a little 1,000-foot pass on the first one, see how it does. I mean, it'll be pushing in, so I think that'll be okay. Hood's all cut, all torn out. Last night I was working on the back end here, so that's getting close. The Panhard bar's close. Drained all the fuel. I just gotta put oil in it and put the charge pipe back on, and it should be good. Besides tires and the wheel. So yeah, unfortunately I needed 4 tires and 1 wheel. So waiting on the fronts, got the backs. I started pulling this one apart, so swap that out tomorrow probably. Well, I guess I'm waiting on the other one. I'll probably swap it out tomorrow. Yeah, so fresh tires, fix the Panhard bar, tail light. Oh my god, the list just keeps going, guys. So yeah. Okay, so the Panhard bar is fixed. I bent this guy back out a little bit. It needs to be tightened up, and that'll be good. I'm gonna weld a couple tacks all around to make this a little stronger, and I may even put a plate. But again, this just centers the rear end. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't take any load when the car launches. It's literally just to center it. It doesn't take any load, unless you take a really hard corner, which ideally we don't do. You know, not for drag racing, at least, ideally. So doesn't take any reverse load. And even alignment is only dependent on these guys right here, these lower control arms in the front. So, you know, if you want basically the axle to be more forward on one side than the other, that's all dependent on that. So alignment really should be fine. I'm gonna check it all, of course, but it's pretty cool that it's actually probably gonna be about the same. So, all right, so I just welded in this little plate, just tacked it in a little bit. Don't look too closely, but she ain't going anywhere. Not that I can imagine. We'll see. I also added some tacks over there and over here and on that side. So this whole bracket is tacked on a little extra, just to make sure that it's good. Doing my best, you know? beat. It's 12:30 right now. Alpha was just here on the keys for hours. Shout out to him, Alpha. That was huge, dude. We had some issues with our boost controllers. The CO2 was not, one's a gain, one's increase, one's decrease, and it wasn't decreasing, so we had to fight with that for a while. We figured it out, got it working, so it should be good for the next go at the track here in a few days. So I'm going to bed. See you guys in the morning. All right, so this is just one of those stupid little time-consuming things where I have to put all the ring on and kind of tighten it slowly as I go around, like a star pattern of some kind to tighten this ring on the brand new wheel. So this wheel was just machined to accept a shank style lug nut instead of a conical style like they come factory. Very dumb that they come factory with a conical style, because conical and drag racing shouldn't mix. but this is a 15-inch bead lock. So it's obviously a drag racing wheel with a street lug nut. It's a very stupid design, and you know, I've had these wheels for years. I figured they'd hopefully change it. They haven't, so it is what it is. But you know, I have to take the bolts, put some you know, some anti-seize on there, and then tighten them all in. You know, keeps it from being unhappy when you have to take it apart. So I got some fresh pig mat, so I use this spray adhesive and then pig mat, and I put it in the belly pan so it can catch any drips of oil or anything. It doesn't catch anything major. Obviously it can't catch all of my coolant, we've proved that, but it can catch a good amount, so it's kind of just an added safety. So I have to mount those tires, these ones, the skinnies, but the way that the sun works is, you know, it will eventually cover the tire machine. You know, the shade will eventually cover the tire machine in about 40 minutes. So it's smarter to wait for the shade than it is to do it right now. So I'm doing other things. I put, you know, I had to remount the catch can. I, you know, bolted the bumper on. I put a new tail light and I wired it in. Not new, but the one from over there. Pulled off these front wheels, put on that back one, put the belly pan on, put this, you know, all the wiring in for this headlight, kind of just tweaking away on little things. There's just like a lot of little things to do, and then eventually it's done. Maybe, probably not, probably never done, but getting close. Getting close. It looks so good with new tires. It's amazing. You don't think they're worn, and then you put new ones on and you're like, oh, they look great. But yeah, so keep doing that. Keep tweaking away one thing after another. I'm so close now. All right, new wheel. Shout out to Nick Klotz on Facebook. He's always hooked me up with all my wheels. And shout out to Chris Lako, because he did the machining on this wheel. So brand new wheel on the back, brand new tires all the way around, just freshly mounted. Car is now sitting on all fours. The Panhard bar seems to be in the right location from what I can tell. Could probably come this way a little bit, but I think it's pretty good. That tire's a little low, but I mean, it's in the right location. It's not hitting on the inner fender well or anything. There's plenty of room all around. So the tire's sitting in the wheel well correctly. So that's good. Man, I've had so much work today. Oh my God. I probably look like I'm dying. How's my hair? Yeah, I'm sure it's unreal. I got brake dust on me. But it's cranking along, running, driving, ready to take to the track with just a windshield. That's all we need left, just the windshield, and it should be here soon. So pretty awesome. We got like a, I don't know, 12-day turnaround, and she's ready to go again. So I'm pumped. We'll be at the reunion tomorrow. Got to load this thing up. Well, guys, the car is like 99% ready. It just needs the windshield, which is right there. Optic Armor, shout out to Keith Ray. He came on the podcast. He brought down some Optic Armor from Pennsylvania with him for this race this weekend. So shout out to him. He's got a really, really badass white New Edge Mustang podcast coming out pretty soon, but he brought me this Optic Armor. Huge shout out to him. So we're going to put that in, and hopefully this Optic Armor is a little better. It's going to be lighter. To the track we go, make a hit, do something cool. We freaking did it, guys. I'm ecstatic. Huge thank you to everybody. Nick Klotz getting me the wheel, Chris Lico for doing the machine work, Induction Performance for getting the engine fixed, and Fast Forward for machining the cylinder head, Precision Turbo. Always, you guys know I got some great partners here, so those guys came in clutch, and we got this car back. So I'm gonna go edit this video, get some sleep, because a long day tomorrow again. So thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next time. That's the fuel pump. Alternator right there. The turbo goes here, like I said. And the exhaust is where the coils plug in. Here's the fuel injectors. They're ID 2600s. Here's the throttle body on the intake manifold. That's a broken windshield. Yeah, I know. Dad broke that.